Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Yatisha Ford, and I'm with See Her. We'll be starting the webinar shortly. Thank you for joining us. Good afternoon, everyone. We'll be starting in just 1 minute. Good afternoon and welcome. Thank you for joining us today for See Her's webinar featuring our partners, Advertising Benchmark Index, entitled Winning Marketing Strategies to Capitalize on Female Fans and Women's Sports. I'm your host for today, Yatisha Ford, Senior Director of Insights and Thought Leadership for See Her. We thank you for your participation and we invite you to participate in today's webinar by please entering any comments or questions you have in our chat, as well as participating in our polls. This is an interactive session. Before we begin, I want to encourage everyone to download our latest report, a research collaboration between See Her and ABX that will be highlighted later in the webinar. We'll show the QR code again at the end of the presentation in case you're unable to download it at this time. This presentation will also be made available in 1 to 2 weeks on the ANA website, as well as on the See Her website, where we'll provide access to the presentation as well as the video recording of this session. And mark your calendars, last piece of housekeeping, I promise. Mark your calendars for upcoming See Her events, where we convene the best in marketing to share insights, strategies, and case studies to drive business growth. We will also provide a way for you to contact us as well as ABX later on in the presentation so you can learn more about where we'll be. We will actually be hosting a creative best practices session at the ANA Brand Masters with ABX, where you can learn more about how to portray women and men interacting in their roles within advertising and what are the best practices for doing so, and help you to meet consumers' evolving expectations in terms of how to correctly reflect the identities and portray people with accuracy so that it resonates with consumers and drives impact for your brands. So more to come on that. And now some information about See Her.
She has money, and she's going to spend it with people who make her feel valued and seen. So you better represent her accurately, because make no mistake, she has the power to make or break you, now and in the future. Join See Her and unlock the tools that drive business growth, because she matters. Bottom line.
For those who are not familiar with See Her, we are a division of the ANA focused on driving marketer growth through the accurate representation and portrayal of women and girls in advertising. We know that women are a driving economic force from a direct purchase and a purchase influence standpoint. So, as a membership based organization, we offer benefits tailored to help our members harness the power of the she economy to increase your revenue. When See Her launched in 2016, we pioneered a methodology with advertising benchmark index, of which I believe Gary is the person who actually was the one who developed the methodology. So we're very fortunate to have him with us today. It's called GEM, and the intention was to use the methodology to measure human portrayals in advertising. And since that time, when it was developed in 2016, ABX has tested 415,000 ads in 15 global markets, representing 90% of advertising spend. That is tremendous scale as well as influence. And our members have made this capability their competitive advantage in driving consumer resonance, improving brand health, as well as sales. So that's a bit about our partnership, but we'll get into more about ABX shortly. Let's talk about today's agenda. We are going to, through the lens of GEM and ABX's creative impact scores and brand health analysis, as well as highlights from See Her's most recent member meeting, sports sessions specifically, we'll share some strategies and best practices that will help brands win with female fans and to make the most of the premium environments of sports. And we'll cover this through three topics. The first focused on the audience, female fans. The second, advertising portrayals. And the third, enhanced storytelling. And with that, I'll turn it over to Gary to introduce himself and to tell you more about ABX.
Good morning, actually, good afternoon. I think that we hope that as a result of this session, you'll learn how to improve creative effectiveness by focusing on things that are important in ads and especially portrayal of men and women. Uh, as Yatisha said, we've been measuring gender scores for almost 10 years. And while we started out trying to understand how gender impacted creative effectiveness, what we learned early on was that the better portrayal and the better ways that men and women are portrayed in ads, the higher the creative effectiveness. So it's not just something that is nice to do. It really has a positive impact on creative effectiveness and ROI. So hopefully this will be not only interesting, but effective and help your bottom line. So the first thing we want to do is try and look at how to reach females. Female fans are a driver of growth and an opportunity. And while the Super Bowl feels like it's 100 years away, we're going to use some Super Bowl data to, to talk about this topic. Okay.
But first, let's start with the poll. I promised that this would be interactive, so we hope that you all participate. The first question that we have is, what percent of ads in the live Super Bowl broadcast do you think featured women? Let's start the poll now and see what your answers are. Uh-oh. Okay. Well, I apologize. It looks like this poll has been disabled.
I know the answer. I know the answer. Can I tell you?
Yes. Can you help me out, please?
Yeah. So it was 81% of Super Bowl ads incorporated a female member in the ad. And while that sounds like a lot, it's 10% lower than the prior year. And the most important thing that I can tell you about Super Bowl ads is that they underperformed. The title of our report is that Super Bowl advertisers fumbled again. In 11 of the last 12 Super Bowls, the average score for Super Bowl ads was well below the average scores for those same advertisers in the prior 12 months. So despite the fact that people are spending $8 million on this airtime, plus probably additional millions in developing the creative, uh, they didn't even achieve performance equivalent to what they were doing all year long. Okay, 52% of Super Bowl ads were below ABX norms. 51% of Super Bowl ads were below gender norms for the women in the ads. And when the gender portrayals of women in ads were positive, those ads improved the call to action KPIs that by 15%. Okay, so my comment that it not only matters but it generates ROI was shown by the few ads that actually outperformed their averages. So you know it's important, and we believe that the reason that Super Bowl ads underperformed was because of an emphasis on celebrities and trying to be entertaining, as opposed to the things that are really important, which is making sure that your brand is associated with what you see in the ad, that people feel better about your brand as a result of being exposed to the ad, and that they intend to take action that is positive. The chart on the left, the black bars, show that the Super Bowl ads underperformed, purchase intent underperformed by 21% compared to these same brands in the prior 12 months. So, um, you know, the fact that a very large number of Super Bowl ads included celebrities, and that most of them did not do as good a job in portraying men and women, was really part of it. Uh, the percentages that you see in purple, uh, when when the ads were doing a good job of portraying, brand reputation went up by 70% for every point of improvement in the gender scores. 25% higher call to action per point of gender score improvement, and 15% improvement in purchase intent. And one of the additional points I'll make is that the overall purchase intent for female viewers of the Super Bowl had an index of 87 compared to men at 124. So we obviously were not talking to women in a way that resonated to them. These are three of the highest scoring gender scoring ads for the Super Bowl. The Nike ad showed an assortment of women in high energy sports activities, finished with this female athlete in the Nike swoosh position, which I thought was really cool. Lay's featured a little girl who told the story, was very positively portrayed, and the potato that she was growing became part of Lay's. So it was, you know, it worked the character portrayal into the brand really well. And TurboTax, this ad, which Tisha, let's play it a little bit, give people a sense of what it is. Not hearing it. At any rate, oh, there we go.
It's so backwards. It's 2025. This is taxes? And we still have to take a million steps?
Issa, I got all your forms. I'll take it from here.
Now Taxes is getting a TurboTax expert who does everything for you. So you can have your cake and... you get it. Now this is Taxes. That's a good metaphor right there.
So this ad featured women who were actively involved in their finances, showed TurboTax as a great solution, had a lot of exciting action, and it was one of the more effective ads for the Super Bowl. The other ad that was pretty exciting was the NFL um, uh, flag football ad. Uh, the whole objective was to get flag football to be a sport in all 50 states. If we have time, let's play a little bit of this as well.
There you go. You got folded up, Brad. Get her. Okay. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so this ad had one of the highest reputation scores, which is a strong measure um, of future performance. So uh, hopefully we'll see flag football being a varsity sport in all 50 states. So
If I remember correctly, Gary, that one was one of the top ones among women, specifically, like going back to the reaching the female fan themselves. Women really particularly like that portrayal.
absolutely, but it worked for both men and women, so it was
Okay,
really an effective ad. Okay,
great.
uh, so one of the things that the ads that we showed you, were involving uh, celebrity athletes, big big budget uh, personalities for major brands. But as we saw in this NFL ad, you don't have to always use high-priced celebrities. Women in these roles, normal women, work just as well. So that's a good thing.
I'm going to attempt to do the second poll. If not, please feel free to enter your answers to this poll in the chat. But we wanted to ask you, which brand do you think does a good job of using their celebrity athlete endorser to complement their brand in ads? Let's see if we can get the poll to work. And no. So let's use the chat. Let's see what some of you all think. There's been a lot of female celebrities in advertisements recently. Have any of them stood out to you as being ones that are doing a great job? Nike, Ally, State Farm, CarMax, Nike, Gatorade, a lot of Nike. That Nike ad really made a great impression, I see. So let's TJ Maxx. Interesting. So a lot of different categories. It doesn't have to be endemic to, what we would typically think for sports. Let's go on.
So I, I guess one of the things that we want to point out, and I think we've shown, is that uh, using female athletes and doing positive gender portrayals is a very important thing and generates positive ROI. But as we saw with the Super Bowl ads, using celebrities and celebrity featured ads um, can miss the mark by making the athlete the star of the show rather than the brand. Um, what the chart on the left shows a little over 100 ads where there were female sports figures or female sports as the primary topic of an ad. And you can see that the ABX index was 103 compared to a norm of 109. So it didn't do that well, even though the portrayal of women was very positively uh, well above norm, but the message delivery and the call to action metrics were below norm. So again, putting too much focus on the female character without retaining focus or balancing the focus on the brand can be problematic. The chart on the right shows similar data for bows. So the column on the left shows ads where there were female sports figures or female or sports environments compared to all of their ads. And they did a great job of not only improving the uh, the, the gender index for the women in their ads, but also their reputation score went above. The likability of their ads went up, and even though the call to action scores are not significantly different, directionally they also went up. So they did a great job. State Farm, which you saw the earlier example, Coca-Cola's Powerade, Microsoft, they all do a very good job of balancing it. Okay. So there are three approaches to using female athletes in sports themed portrayals. One is to show the women in athletic roles, similar to what the Nike ad that you didn't see does. Okay, this secret ad does the same thing. It shows these women as athletes. The second is where the athlete is used as a celebrity, even though she is not actually being portrayed in her, she's not shooting a basketball, but clearly she is portrayed as the athlete. And then the other is where there's a counter stereotypical sports role. In the case of the of this ad, the sports figure is actually a uh, um,
Sports journalist.
journalist. Thank you very much. I knew that
No
word.
worries.
I knew that word would eventually come out of my mouth.
No
Okay,
worries. See
so
coaches, journalists, analysts sometimes.
there you go. So let's show the State Farm ad quickly.
I could have sworn it was open.
Rookie move.
I was a rookie once.
Caitlin Clark.
Aren't you Rookie of the Year?
That was last year. Ancient history. The stories that I could tell you. Here, pull up a chair.
Okay, I meant this rookie driver made that rookie move.
Whoa.
Dude.
You need someone with more experience. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, State Farm's here to help, no matter how long you've been in the game.
Game? Oh, man.
Rookie move.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
So this ad was very effective in using the sports figure as the attention getter, the focal point, but she was integrated really well into the entire State Farm message. And here's another ad from Deloitte, and they use female sports figures, but they are not being used as sports figures themselves. You're not showing them in action. They are using a reference to the female executives at Deloitte. Let's show just a little bit of that as well.
There she is, Jade Ross. Best CTO in the game.
Her cyber defense is fire.
Yeah, but Emily Foster? Corporate finance queen of Kansas City? Wait, hold up. Is that Lucy Carter? See? Oh, man, she just looked right at me. I love you, Lucy! You had such a great Q4. Can we take a selfie, please? Where'd you get that photo?
Your LinkedIn profile.
Can I have your coffee sleeve?
So works very well. I think that Deloitte probably could have done a little bit better job of branding themselves and bringing their brand out, but it certainly showed that their talent is well placed.
Thank you for sharing all those great insights and really actionable insights, I believe, that marketers can take away and think about how they can leverage. So Gary covered the first two strategies in terms of leveraging female fans' purchasing power to drive revenue and how to optimize women in athletic roles. You may not have the budgets to actually align yourself with a celebrity female athlete, but showing a woman as an athlete is not something that's common in advertising as much as it is in real life. So it's still considered a counter stereotype. And that sort of portrayal, as he showed you before, can do well, even if it's a real woman and not an athlete. But leveraging athletes in such a way to complement and not overshadow your brand is one, I think, the greatest takeaways to make sure that you drive the effectiveness that you want to drive along with portrayal. Now I'm going to talk about the last strategy, which is around considerations when you're using that premium environment of sports. And I'm getting a little bit into segueing into women's sports to enhance your storytelling. So again, since we don't have the poll, I just want to ask in the chat if you could tell us which male sporting event do you think has done the best job of adapting or enhancing their storytelling with women in mind? And this was going to be a multiple choice between like the Olympics, the NBA Finals, the NHL Stanley Cup, the World Cup, the Super Bowl. Which ones do you all think? Football, basketball, okay, NFL league, Team USA, and NFL. Olympics. I think the Olympics has had the lead on everyone. Not the NHL. Okay, someone wants NHL to do better. Rugby. This is very interesting. Thank you for those comments. So I asked that question only to illustrate the fact that this alludes to the fact that men's sports is still in a little bit of a catch-up mode in terms of the fact that they're just starting to acknowledge and realize that they had a female fan base. For some of them are further ahead. But this offers an incremental reach and revenue opportunity for any sport for advertisers. But have they considered that women still don't perceive the sports industry as a whole as inclusive? We did a survey. We actually do a global perceptions of progress study amongst nationally representative consumers in 7 different countries, and we asked them about their perceptions around women in different industries and categories and advertising, et cetera. And in the study, we found that in the US, only 26% of women even believe that the sports industry has made a lot of progress to be inclusive towards women in the past 10 years. And that may factor into the did you know point, which is men are more likely to consume men's sports as well as women's sports on both the collegiate and the professional level. Now, everyone is talking about women's sports and trying to figure out where do they fit in and how can they optimize their opportunities with female fans. There's obviously no wonder. There's a huge revenue opportunity for brands. There's more media coverage projected than ever. There's more of a recognition of the fact that women have a halo effect and a direct spending impact effect on everything related to sports, and the size of the prize for women's sports fandom is really huge. And then from a representation and perspective, women's sports provides this pipeline for leaders and for role models for this generation and for future generations. So we had a See Her member meeting for Women's History Month the other day. Gary attended, so feel free to jump in with any of your thoughts on this, Gary, because we heard from a lot of brands as to what they're thinking about doing in terms of their sports strategy for women's sports. And at the end of the day, which brands are women and female fans going to choose? When we know that they already don't think the industry is inclusive, when we know that there's still a lot of a learning curve when it comes to representation and portrayals and how to align and integrate your brands and also how to storytell. And then there's still a lot of unknowns as we're getting into this space and people are figuring it out. But what we were hearing is that in addition to letting the female fan guide you, because we did hear from one of our members, Paramount, that they did a big sports study to help them to get to more nuance about what their strategy should be and hearing back from female fans what they want. There's another strategy for hearing the female voice, and that is leveraging women behind the camera. That can help to enhance your storytelling and is an effective way to make the most of the premium environment and enhance your storytelling. And Verizon spoke a little bit about this in an initiative that they're doing with the NFL called Behind the Lens. And with more time, I would play the video, but just so you can get the gist of it, in this initiative, they have this partnership that supports women as sports in sports creator roles, and they give them coveted access to the sideline for events so they could tell the stories around the games, the athletes, the brands, the influencers, et cetera, from their perspective. But since we're talking about women's sports, I think that this is a strategy that would also be really important to highlight for as we get into women's sports, right? Because this is another level where you can bring the female voice and the voice of the consumer as well as the voice of the creator and make sure that you have authentic storytelling, enhanced storytelling. And I wanted to show you an example from one of my favorite creators. Her name is Aziza Fullerton Brubaker, and shout out, she's my niece. She actually works for NBA TV. And what she did was a promo for the new 3-on-3 basketball league, Unrivaled. And it's aired on TNT, True TV, and Max. And I'm not saying that it's great because she's my niece. I'm saying it's great because as a woman behind the camera, it does provide a different perspective. So let me play that for you.
Well-behaved women rarely make history. And for the women of Unrivaled, their sweet spot is unapologetic disruption.
Welcome to Unrivaled! It's fast, it's fierce, and it's all about the game.
This is what living history looks like.
Pull up for the win, hits it again!
It looks like a league of ferocious competitors featuring 12 WNBA champions, 17 Olympians, and 13 of the WNBA's top 20 scorers. It looks like Fee and Stewie bossing up off the court and on it as league co-founders and historically elite players. It looks like BG being the first Unrivaled player to dunk, with Lisa Leslie, the first WNBA player to dunk, watching from the sidelines, while Candace Parker, the first woman to dunk in college, watched from the studio.
BG.
It looks like the intensity of Skylar Diggins-Smith, the efficiency of Alyssa Thomas, the tenacity of Angel Reese, the court vision of Chelsea Gray, the heart of De'Erica Hamby, the passion of Natasha Cloud, the game changer that's Renee Montgomery, the fire inside Teaspoon, and the brilliance of the women behind the scenes, the producers, the content creators, the production crew, and the investors.
I wanted to be a part of it from day one.
It looks undeniable. It looks unmatched. It looks uncompromising. It looks like unrivaled.
So some of the critique that women's sports has gotten in the past, besides not being able to find it, is that it just doesn't look as fire, as interesting, as engaging, as on the same level in terms of the marketing, the promotion as men's sports. But here we see them shown not only as the athletes and the intense athletes, but also as multidimensional women, multifaceted on and off the court, as athletes, as leaders, entrepreneurs, investors, and even the producers behind the scenes are getting their exposure, and they're shown achieving records, breaking records, and getting their hair done at the same time. So all that to say that women are shown telling the story, and what brand would not want to be a part of that and aligned to that? So in summary, what we heard from the meeting from Paramount, from Disney, NFL, Verizon, is that one, lead with insights. Women are multidimensional. We can like sports and fashion. We can be diehard sports fans and foodies. Incorporate those sorts of things into your brand alignment and storytelling. Athletes can be moms and entrepreneurs. We have invented the multi-hyphenate trend. So tap into that multidimensionality and all the rules and passions and align them with sports. And I think the previous Super Bowl probably did a really great job of that, and we hope to see that continue in the future. This is an authentic way for your brand to get connected and to express it through your storytelling by just acknowledging women are bringing their full selves to their fandom. At their meeting, we also shared findings from a study that we did with ABX as well as LG Ads about women behind the camera and how it enhances the portrayal of women. And you can ensure that when women are behind the camera, the storytelling and the brand integrations of the women in sports is going to be authentic and highly engaging, just like this creative that we showed you earlier. And when you integrate your brand, don't just cut and paste what you're doing for male audiences and male sports. I think that's one of the reasons or the barriers why women are not feeling included, is because it doesn't feel tapped in or bespoke to them. So utilize this opportunity. You have a premium environment. If you have rights or partnerships, or even if you don't, you can still create innovative integrations that are really bespoke to women and make them feel seen and like you value them as a fan. So I know we're going a little bit over. We're going to conclude now. Gary, do you have any thoughts in conclusion?
No, just that it's a great opportunity, and it's an opportunity for growth. So take advantage. If we can help, we'd love to do so.
Awesome. Well said. So to that point, we'll leave you then with Mark Pritchard. He was at our event via Zoom, and he said that sports still provides a brand safe environment, and that this is an opportunity for you to maximize your reach, representation, relevance, resonance with female fans, just as you do with men's sports. So all of these strategies we hope you found very helpful and will help you to do that moving forward. We invite you to download the full report. Gary went into a little bit of it earlier from the Super Bowl, where we analyzed the Super Bowl advertisements and looked at that in terms of driving ROI and how those ads could have improved ROI. I think they certainly have implications outside of just the Super Bowl alone, but for also your advertising throughout the year. So please feel free to download that report. And again, join us at our next event. We'll be at Brand Masters, where Gary and I will be hosting a workshop around portrayals of modern men and modern women. So we've seen a kind of a regression or a backsliding in terms of how men and women are showing up in terms of the characters in ads that just may not be breaking through to the consumer today in terms of what they expect and who they are. They may not feel like this reflects me. So how can you bridge that gap? We're going to help you with that at the Brand Masters in May. And then there's other See Her events that we hope you'll join us at it as well. And finally, here's our information. Please feel free to reach out to Gary at ABX to learn more. They have more capabilities than what you've seen here. They are our trusted partner for 10 years. We highly endorse them. They are amazing. And feel free to reach out to me at See Her if you have more questions about See Her, about the membership, and about the other benefits that we have to offer. With that, we want to thank you all for joining, and we invite you to come back for our next webinar, which will be reaching out to you within the next month to talk about. But for now, have a great day, and thank you for participating.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Yatisha.